Nala Pickleball, baby.
Boom!
Woo! All right. Well, welcome to the Nala Pickleball podcast. I am your wonderful host, Natalie Fisher, and my fantastic co-host, Lori Burgett.
Lori Burgett. That's
say
me.
hello.
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 out there.
So, we're back, and we're here talking about our love of pickleball, and there's so many different facets of pickleball, and one of the ones that we kind of want to get into, it's a little bit salacious.
Can be.
It can be, but it's part of it as well. So the good, the bad, and the ugly, we're going to talk about pickleball relationships.
I
now,
call it kind of pickleball politics too. That's
it
okay.
could be. Yeah.
That's okay. But you cannot have a community without
Right.
as the court turns.
Yes,
right? Just
yes.
the things that go
soap
on.
It's like a soap opera.
It
and,
can be.
But here's the thing.
Or high
So,
school.
I mean, when we talk about like relationships, I mean friendships, like our friendship, the community at large, the people that we've met, the business contacts that we've made.
Right.
But the other relationships that can unfold, if you will, are the ones that are of the romantic nature.
Oh,
Yes.
well, I'm a happily married woman. So
You are,
that
with an
is not-
amazing
that's not
husband.
Amazing
Yes.
support. And yeah, so, but I do like to hear Natalie's stories. They're
Well-
very interesting. So we'll see how much she wants to share with you on that. I'll let her decide.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the pickleball community.
Yeah.
If you're on Instagram and anybody hears you talking about pickleball, you're going to go into everybody's who's got a pickleball site, and they're going
Right.
to talk to you about how great the community is. And I do believe it's probably the strongest benefit to pickleball.
Right.
Because like you said, you were in a transitional period of your life and feeling not at your best, right?
No, I wasn't.
And then, you get out there, you meet new people, you start doing, having activities every day and joining these games and doing something that really enhances your life, which is
It
what
does.
it's all about,
Yeah.
particularly if you're on the back end versus the front
Right.
end of your life. So it's really important to be somebody who's positive in the community, number one, I would like to say, because we'll talk about a few different things. But I mean, one of the things I noticed right away is like everybody is really welcoming, and people say that.
Yes.
People that get into it say, you get there and just like, for me, CJ, he's the pickleball director at in Flagstaff where I was playing, and he was just always so positive.
Yeah.
And it just makes you want to come back. Even
Yes.
if you think dinking a ball over a net is going to be so easy, and then you just cannot accomplish it, or somebody just smacks it back at you.
Right.
And it's always great. And for you pickleball partners out there to be positive, I know it's hard always to do that.
Right.
But to just be positive and say, oh, thanks for trying, or that was great, you did that, that goes a long way.
It does.
I'm not always that great
No.
at it. But I learned from people that
know.
are.
I
But
know.
also though, because we want to, our goal is the same, to play at a high level, the
Right.
highest level we can achieve. And so it's important to be able to communicate.
Yes,
with your
communication
partner and have
is
that
key.
conversation.
And I'll tell you, our friendship on the court, off the court,
Right.
and then again, as it relates to relationships. So, Lori, as she mentioned, she is a happily married woman to an amazing man who is very supportive. So, kudos to you, Jim. Thank you for
best.
allowing your wife, and again, she doesn't need permission. Let's just get that clear.
Oh, yeah.
But she spends a lot of time. We spend a lot of time playing
Right.
pickleball, talking about pickleball, planning pickleball. So, it's pretty amazing that, we're doing this together. And I, on the other hand, I'm in a little different situation. So, if you did happen to see our inaugural episode,
Right.
I talked about the very first time I stepped foot on the pickleball court. I just happened to meet somebody that particular day that I was very forward and forthcoming. And so I know the story, and so I actually reached out to somebody that I met. And fast forward, I won't get into too many details, but it was somebody that I actually spent, 2 years of my life. And pickleball was the foundation. And it was amazing. So, it unfortunately, that didn't last, but my love of pickleball for sure has stood the test of time, and I think it's going to be one of those lifelong things. But what was interesting, and I'll tell you, so in relationships, I mean, obviously, if you've been married, I was married for a very long time. Lori's been married for a very long time. You've had relationships. If you have something, a shared interest or a passion in something, it's pretty incredible. And so now that pickleball has become such a big part of both of our lives, I know for me, it's important that somebody understands, which is like what Lori's husband does. He has such an understanding and appreciation, and he, knows that it gives her so much passion and joy, so he doesn't get in the way of that.
Because that's his golf. Because I do the same thing for his golf.
Yes, you support each other's.
We recognize that. But, he does get questioned a lot. So that's what's funny because, we went to Vegas and we were gone for 5 days.
Right, we did. We played in a tournament. And here's the thing. I'm like now the single person. Yeah. So people, make assumptions and.
Well, Jim is great about that. Obviously he's come to know Natalie and she's always supportive of him as well. So I think those are important.
Right.
Like for people, when you start to realize how addicting pickleball is.
It is.
And you're going out and you're finding reasons to go play pickleball and not work or whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
And I remember going and thinking to myself, does any of these people work? Or they're there at like 6 o'clock in the morning or 5:30 in the morning. Yeah. That's normally not me. But it does take some time. And especially if you're playing mixed doubles or playing where guys are, we know people that change the men's names to women's names.
Yeah. Right? So, and again, we're not here to promote bad behavior.
No.
But there are certain people who in their phones, they change the male name to a female name because it just creates problems. And not that they're doing anything wrong. Now, some people are, but I don't think whether it was pickleball, it could be CrossFit, it could be whatever. You name the thing, and if they're wired,
the cult, right?
And if they're wired that way, then it's going to happen.
Right.
But I ended up my pickleball kind of relationship experience was I met somebody that we started playing pickleball together right out of the gate, and then because I wanted to compete. He was supportive of that, but he had never really done that. So we kind of did this together, and it was kind of our bond, and it was great. Mm-hmm. And then it created some challenges, and it's because sometimes when if you start to play at a certain level, and there's not as many women that play at a high level than there are as men, and so then
it's particularly like in a club, like
So then if if you're talking to other people, it can somewhat be problematic.
It can be high schoolish.
It can be very high schoolish. Yeah. And it's still an amazing thing that I have, and pickleball and that relationship really sort of was the catalyst for everything.
Right.
So it was great. But we've also seen,
But on the other hand, you've seen some really positive relationships that have bloomed and they found their person and they're playing out there all the time. So we don't want to make it negative, but we do want to, kind of talk about the community of it and the ins and outs. And I think probably most of you out there would know what we mean by that. But also some of the relationship we've forged, like with other women, and we're doing the same, that we're motivating each other to play, and we're going to concerts or going out to dinner, and
we're going on trips now.
Yeah. And, we ended up in Cabo with, I think, a normal group of people that would have never known each other or been there otherwise.
Had it not been for pickleball.
Right. And we had so much fun.
Yeah,
we were having so much fun that people from other courts were coming over and going, why am I not over here?
Right. It was like So the friendship. So when we talk about relationships, we've seen, like Lori said, we've seen relationships develop and evolve and, become this amazing love thing. Now, sometimes we know couples who they both play, they're both high level players, but they can't play together, and that's totally okay. And so sometimes they play mixed doubles with other partners, and you kind of have to find your rhythm and your comfortable space. And for me, I love playing women's doubles, and I love playing singles, and mixed doubles was the thing that I had with my partner.
Right.
So now that we're not together, it's difficult for me. I don't know how I feel about it still.
Yeah.
Because again, it represented this, this romantic thing. But so I don't know. We'll see. It's evolving and changing as we go.
And I used to tell Natalie, like, is it your goal or is it rec play or is it, so there was definitely some complexities that you have to muddle through to make sure that you're, kind of meeting all of your needs in
Right.
in whatever respect. And so I think it's cool that you can get out there and really get to, find friendships and otherwise, I suppose.
Yeah.
And for us, even some business ventures.
Right,
And,
right.
yeah, it's just been, I mean, and now all of a sudden, like, where are my other friends? I don't know.
Well,
If they don't
here's
play
the thing, though.
pickleball.
Here's the funny thing about relationships, and we're
Right.
talking about friendships now,
Yeah.
and specifically. So just last night, we
Right.
went to dinner with some of my friends that I've had for a long
Yeah.
time. That I from like past life, right? And
Pre-pickleball.
yeah,
PP.
yeah. There's
Right.
like JC or whatever,
Right.
what
Right.
WW, whatever, and now it's like I've become that obnoxious person that it's like all I do is talk about
Or talk
pickleball
about it, and people
ad
don't get it.
nauseum, and they don't
Yeah.
get it, and then you're just that annoying person.
You are.
It's like that person.
I am. We
who-
all are.
Yeah.
I'm at a family thing, and two people are like, "What? Well, what's going on new? Well, and I know this guy. Oh, wait, I know this guy from pickleball." Then you realize you're saying it.
Yeah.
Why do we keep saying at pickleball?
Yeah.
I don't need to say that. I can just say I know this guy. So I now on purpose go, guess where I met this person, and they'll say, "Oh, I don't know,
Pickleball?
pickleball."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
But here's the other thing, and
It's a
this
cult.
is so to kind of put the positive spin on it, because there are relationships that are forming, and and then there are ones that now pickleball is kind of taken over their lives, and if the other partner doesn't get on board, then they get bored. And
Yeah.
so you know you see both sides of it. But if you're even considering maybe embarking on it together, like
Yeah.
what a cool thing to do together, and you can start and have the foundation. I mean, you can go on trips, and we do things sort of at the club sometimes where we'll do we used to do on Friday nights called Dinks and Drinks, right?
Right.
And we would invite everybody, and it was much more of a social thing. So it wasn't about playing competitive. It was just a social thing. We were outside. We'd bring our cooler, our speaker, and we'd listen to music, and then we would, and it was lots of couples that maybe would have played together, but they're at very different levels, and then we would mix
Or
it up.
recreational, just
And
kind
it
of
was
fun.
so much fun.
It is fun. That's super fun.
It's so fun.
Well,
And-
I mean, and I think one of the reasons we talk about this is because we've talked about putting together, like, you see
Yes.
it out there now, like
Dating,
pickle and
just-
dating,
yeah,
tequila
no,
and
it's
pickle,
called-
or
yeah,
like a few things out
yeah.
there.
So the other night I was doing market research,
Yeah, she was.
and I went to a speed dinking.
Speed dating, which is like,
Yeah.
i.e., some kind of dating.
It was something, and aside from the fact that I was the oldest person there by probably 25 to 30 years.
And you're probably the only one that did not have an exposed midriff.
Yeah, true,
Right,
true.
I mean, I think the photos had people with no shirts
Yeah,
on.
yeah. No.
But
It
I'm like,
was-
what kind of dating site
But
is this?
what was crazy about it is that I
Yeah.
go to this thing, and it was fine, and
Yeah.
whatever. And there were like beginners who had never played, and whatever. But it was. but
It
there
wasn't
were
a competitive thing.
It was not
It was
competitive.
totally
It was
about
not
coming
competitive.
together
Under the
singles.
guise of pickleball. Oh, yeah.
Right.
But what was cool about it is that there were so many people there that were, and I felt like, I mean, they were literally the same age as my son. So it was awkward
Yeah,
for me.
so we have a conversation about maybe doing this for
for people
looking
like
for
us.
second spouses. I
No,
don't know.
No, but like who's targeting us? Again,
Right.
like we're
There
an
you go.
audience. Like I'm over 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love pickleball. So,
And life
somebody
keeps going. Like you're full of life. You have a lot of
Yeah.
vitality. So one of the first things I noticed when I went to JW was like there were so many single women.
Yes.
They'd either a lot of them were just recently divorced or whatever. Maybe that just happens at a stage of life that everybody becomes
Yeah.
familiar with. But,
Right.
But it's it was weird for me. I'm like,
There were a lot of
there's
us,
so
yeah.
many single women. I mean, and attractive women, successful women,
Right.
And who knows? The reasons definitely vary, but there's certainly, I think there's certainly an audience out there for people. It's better than
Yeah.
a bar scene,
For sure.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that that's something that we want to explore. Like, how can we
Right.
do some kind of dating?
Yeah, like to
Pickleball dating or meeting people, just to kind of keep it cool and not so
keep it cool.
keep it kind of
man.
cool, like whatever happens,
Yeah.
happens. So you went on a dating thing with pickleball.
Yes.
Like, these are some new things that are popping up. So
Yeah, and
so
we're-
how did they actually create like the matches, or what was your experience?
Yeah,
like?
so what they did is they basically had, an even number of men and women
Mm-hmm.
there, and then they basically called you out into groups, and so you went out onto a court, so 4 of you. So on every court you had 2 men and 2 women.
Okay.
right? And so, and then what they do is you introduce yourself. So you basically are paired like mixed doubles. So you introduce yourself to your partner, and then the two women ended up staying together the whole time, and you would just move courts, and then the two men on the court would stay, and then you would just kind of rotate. So the women were moving the whole time, and the men would just stay. So by the time you got done,
But you're not really like having conversations when you're just playing pickleball. So.
Well, here's
or
the
are you? Do they
so then they start like, oh, tell me about you. Have you ever played pickleball? Like, oh, what's your story? And they're literally like, I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you they are the same age as my son, who is in his 20s, right? And so I just felt so dirty. I felt dirty, and it felt so But anyway,
but it's something you pay for and sign up. Like,
you do, yeah. So,
I think a lot of the conversation. I mean, lately, and maybe we'll have this conversation again. But a lot of the conversation lately is we've been hearing some stories about some coaches or players out there that may have had like a CD pass or even criminal pass in some way.
Right.
So we've had. So, I always think, well, pickleball is such a welcoming thing. It's literally part of the culture to be so welcoming. And like we play at a lot of private places. And then
we do.
Then we're playing it at a private place and all of a sudden people are showing up and we're like, hey, how do you know this person? And then we'll say, well, we played at a park. And, then they're coming to home. So, because I'm
she's
prior
retired
police, right?
So.
I mean, I'm always like, what is happening? I don't know about bringing people to other people's homes who are gracious enough to open doors and maybe even trust you to run, because I run we'll get some times where we're playing and I will run the league and bring the people over, and so I'm always very cautious about who that is, and I tell them, but I've noticed that sometimes it's not always that way, which for me breeds some concern because of the things I've seen, but also because now you're in a dating format, so I'm wondering, like I asked Natalie, when she goes out on her dates, I'm like, call me when you're done.
Text
let
her,
me know,
let me know
so
where
I
you
know that you're
are.
not like been abducted or whatever, because I think that's an important conversation to have, whether people like to do that or not.
And even a woman in her 50s.
Well, 100%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But also, are they doing some type of background check, or, do you know what they're doing? You don't know.
No. Oh, wait. Oh, that. For me.
Yeah.
So this event.
You signed in. You filled out a little form.
You fill out a form online. It basically says you won't be a jerk, right?
Right.
And you're going to be, and if they take pictures and whatever, and you sign a waiver, and you pay. But what was amazing to me is that I saw there were a lot of people that were there, and if you're charging per head, and all they're doing is basically saying you go out onto a court and then you just rotate, and then at the end of the night they weren't keeping track of score, they weren't doing anything, and then at the end of the the 2-hour event, you basically, if there was somebody who like piqued your interest, you would hopefully remember their name.
Right.
And then they would say, okay, well, if you're comfortable, we can send them a note on your behalf if you remember their name. And I ended up, like, as soon as the thing was done, I didn't even stick around for the after thing, the social portion.
Oh, where you could, you could basically stay around and talk to people.
Yes,
more.
yeah. So
But you were like, this is age inappropriate, and I'm out.
Not. I felt dirty.
Yeah.
I felt dirty, so I left, and but it was funny. So then the next day they send a follow up. Thank you for coming, and then they send you so and so had expressed some interest, and with a name and a phone number.
But you don't remember, like you wouldn't remember the names.
I mean, I don't want to. No.
Well, okay. So, but here at the end of the day, it was market research because
yes, I was doing market research.
Because we keep thinking there must be a way we can do some dating, and I actually we met a woman once who said she had a lot to do with like some speed dating and some apps,
right?
And said that she had some ideas for that. So, I mean, that's something hopefully we'll have coming soon. Right. I mean, I'm sure there's cost in the courts because this particular group, it moves. Right?
Yes.
It goes
different locations.
Every week or so.
So this particular event was at a private facility.
Yeah.
So they had to, I'm sure there was some overhead for sure.
Yeah.
But no, it's great. And you know what? I mean, gosh, like to your point, like going out to a bar, like we were out last night and, I'm sitting in a bar and all I'm thinking is I would so much prefer to play pickleball and then just go home and watch a movie.
It's so because we did that in Vegas.
Yeah.
Because we were in Vegas.
We're in Vegas.
We're playing pickleball. And then
we brought cute clothes to wear. We wore our pickleball clothes out every night.
Everywhere.
To
because
go to
we
dinner.
stayed playing pickleball on the courts.
Yeah.
And then she's like, Oh, I'm gonna show the picture of you and the ice cream.
Oh gosh.
She's like, let's go get some gelato, and then literally in the bed eating gelato
In my
with a blanket
pickleball
up,
clothes.
and we're looking for a movie to watch on TV by
in
like
Vegas.
8 o'clock.
Lame.
That's
We're
okay.
so lame.
But you could have gone downstairs and done the
Yeah.
same thing. I mean, we did like watch it once in a while, but yeah, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
just the
But
stage of
anyway,
life. But
so-
that's why it's a good place to go meet people
Right.
who aren't necessarily like the club hoppers, or
Yeah.
maybe the intentions aren't really so
Yeah.
pickleball pure.
So it's yeah. So I mean, as far
Wholesome.
as it relates to me and
Yeah.
and you know, I think it's great. So if you know
Yeah.
there were somebody in my life that played pickleball, like I don't know if they have to play at a really high level now that I, you know, in retrospect, but if they play and they understand it, that would be very cool.
Or you could teach them.
I could
So
teach
because
them.
she is a PPR pro.
Yes, we are both
NalaPickleball.com.
Yeah,
There you go.
NalaPickleball.com. Shameless
There you go.
plug. By the way, do you see the merch?
Oh,
the merch.
yeah. There
Anyway,
it is.
so
All right, so-
you know, but we're here to, you know, share our love of this game and yeah,
Help you find your love.
and help me
maybe.
find my love. You
There
can
you
can
go.
be along this, you know, on this journey with us, and I'm, you know, we'll see what happens. It's definitely a soap opera,
But for the most part, the community is awesome. But there's going to be some real life soap opera drama,
Right.
But also tons of fun, more fun than
more fun than anything I've
positive than
ever done
negative. Right.
in my life.
Right. It was fun in Vegas, and the gelato was amazing. FYI.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right.
We're here to help you find your passions.
Yeah.
Nala Pickleball.
Yeah, Nala Pickleball.